Good morning to all. We continue the chapter Language of Chemistry. This is the seventh lecture. Today we will be studying about conditions necessary for a chemical reaction to take place. Chemical reaction will always take place only if the reactants have been brought into contact, close contact. There are certain reactions which take place only when they are in solution form. Certain reactions take place when you supply heat, energy in the form of heat, light, or electricity. Yet other reactions are those that only take place when there is low pressure or high pressure. Certain reactions take place in the presence of catalyst. Reaction conditions are usually written above the arrow, but may also be written below if the reaction requires several steps or several different conditions. The first condition for a chemical reaction is close contact between the reactants. You may have observed your mother preparing curd at home. She adds a small amount of curd to a whole lot of milk, and overnight the whole milk turns into curd. This has taken place only when a small amount of curd has been added to milk. Children, here I would like to share an interesting fact with you. Do you know that sodium is a metal and it is a very reactive metal? It is kept in laboratory in kerosene filled bottles so that it does not react with the moisture, with the oxygen of the atmosphere. Do you want to see how reactive it is? Just have a look. Sodium metal reacts rapidly with water to form a colorless solution of sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. The reaction is exothermic, that is, it releases lot of energy. During the reaction, the sodium metal may well become so hot that it catches fire and burns with the characteristic golden yellow flame. We write the equation as 2Na plus 2H2O gives you 2NaOH and hydrogen gas evolves. In this reaction, we see that sodium will react with water only when a piece of sodium is dropped into water, that is close contact. Certain reactions take place only when they are in solution form. For example, silver nitrate reacts with sodium chloride dissolved in water to form silver chloride and sodium nitrate. I perform an experiment for you. In this experiment, I have taken sodium chloride and silver nitrate solution. I have the dropper, the spatula, the test tube. With the help of the spatula, I take some amount of sodium chloride in a test tube. Now, sodium chloride is white crystalline in nature. I add this to the test tube. In this experiment, I have skipped adding water to this. You can also add water to sodium chloride and get a clear solution. To it, we will be adding few drops of silver nitrate solution, aqueous silver nitrate solution. And we get white color precipitate of silver chloride. The reaction we write as AgNO3 aqueous plus NaCl aqueous will give you product AgCl, silver chloride, which is a white precipitate, and the other product formed is sodium nitrate. There are many reasons for carrying out reactions in solution. For a chemical reaction to occur, individual atoms, molecules or ions must collide, and collision between two solids do not occur at significant rate. Hence, we take the solution form of the reactants. Application of heat to some substances cause chemical changes or chemical reactions in which one or more new substances are formed with different properties from the original. Here I will show you how heat brings about a chemical change, a chemical reaction. For this I have taken copper carbonate, CuCO3, some lime water, CaOH whole twice. I have taken spirit lamp, dropper, spatula, test tube holder and test tube. I light the spirit lamp. In the test tube, I take some amount of copper carbonate. Copper carbonate, you can see the color is dirty green, powdery in nature and dirty green. I fix the test tube to the test tube holder and make arrangements for lime water. Some amount of lime water in the test tube, a delivery tube, one end of the delivery tube is in the lime water, dipped in lime water, the other end is fixed onto the copper carbonate test tube. Now I start heating copper carbonate. Now heat brings about decomposition of copper carbonate to two products, copper oxide and carbon dioxide. Now carbon dioxide is colorless. So how can we see that the gas is coming out? We can see through the bubbles that is coming out through the lime water. Can you see the bubbles? So this indicates that a gas is coming out which is moving through the lime water. And while heating, the color of copper carbonate, dirty green in color, changes. Also observe that the lime water in the test tube is turning milky white. This is because carbon dioxide gas is reacting with calcium hydroxide. There is a chemical reaction and it's turning milky. Observe the other test tube. The green color powder has turned black. Black is the color of copper oxide. So here we can see that it is the heat that has brought about the chemical change. Now, while writing down the chemical equation, the condition for the reaction is mentioned above the arrow. You can see a triangle. Triangle represents heat. So CuCO3 on heating breaks down into CuO, black color substance, plus carbon dioxide, a colorless gas. Next example that we have taken over here is heating calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate, when heated strongly, undergoes thermal decomposition to form calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. Here's an experiment. Watch it carefully. Here you can see a horizontal test tube. This test tube contains calcium carbonate. Bunsen burner is used to heat calcium carbonate in the horizontal test tube. You can also observe gas coming out that is directed towards another vertical test tube that contains lime water and it is turning milky. Now while writing down the balanced chemical equation, we write CaCO3 on being heated gives you CaO, that is calcium oxide, and carbon dioxide. Both the reactant and the product over here, calcium carbonate and calcium oxide, are white in color. Zinc carbonate. Zinc carbonate also undergoes thermal decomposition to form zinc oxide, ZnO, a solid that is white in color when cold and yellow in color when hot. And carbon dioxide gas is released. Let's observe this experiment. In a test tube, I have taken zinc carbonate. Zinc carbonate is white color powder. Strongly heat zinc carbonate using a Bunsen burner. A gas evolves, emits out. This gas is detected by passing the gas through lime water. You can see the lime water turning milky. This confirms that the gas evolved is carbon dioxide. Now let's have a look at the test tube. You can see the white color powder turning yellow. This is because zinc carbonate is breaking down into zinc oxide, which is yellow in color when it is hot. And carbon dioxide. You have just seen carbon dioxide evolving out. Now this yellow color powder on cooling becomes white. This is a property of zinc oxide. It is yellow when hot and white when cold. So now we write down the balanced chemical equation. Zinc carbonate, which is white in color, on heating forms zinc oxide, which is yellow when hot and white when cold, plus carbon dioxide. So this reaction also takes place only in the presence of heat. Otherwise, the reaction will not take place. So the condition for the chemical reaction is heat. The last example now we have taken is heating solid ammonium chloride at a temperature of 340 degrees centigrade. It decomposes to form two colorless gases, ammonia and hydrogen chloride. Let's have a look at the experiment. We take ammonium chloride in a test tube, white crystalline in nature, and heat the test tube. Ammonium chloride breaks down into two products, ammonia and hydrogen chloride. There is a pungent smell, and when a moist red litmus is brought close to the test tube, we find it turning blue. This indicates that ammonia gas is there. After some time, we find that there is dense white fumes on the cooler upper part of the test tube. This is because ammonia and hydrogen chloride again combine to give back ammonium chloride, and this ammonium chloride, when condensed, will again form crystalline ammonium chloride. Now, time to write down the balanced chemical equation. NH4Cl gives you NH3 plus HCl. The arrow we use over here is different from the other equations, as this reaction is a reversible reaction. A reversible reaction is one which proceeds in forward and backward directions, both under the same conditions. So children, today we have done the first three conditions necessary for chemical reaction. We'll continue in the next class with conditions like light energy, electricity, pressure and catalyst. That's all for today. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.